I think we're good. I think we're recording. Again, thank you guys for attending today. Thanks for your interest in working with the housing department and the programs we offer. I'll let everybody introduce themselves when they get to their respective sections. But again, my name is Jasmine. I'm with the housing department. My team will actually be processing the contractor applications. We also, work with as you guys bid projects and are awarded projects, we work to sort that out and get you guys set up with whatever projects you're bidding on. So if you have questions, I would be a good contact, and then my team here would also be a good contact. We'll go through questions at the end, and I'll give you guys contact information and emails and numbers and stuff. I'm going to mute everybody just as we go through the slides. That way there is no background noise. I am recording this just for reference for anybody who has questions later on. So the way the presentation will go today, we're going to do a quick overview of the programs that we offer here, the home repair programs that we offer in the housing department. We're going to talk about customer service and the clientele that we serve. We'll show you the neighborly portal, which you will use to submit all the supporting documents for your application. And you'll also use this portal as you bid on jobs and work on jobs with our department. Then we'll look at the required document checklist, which is in the application itself, and it lists out all of the supporting documents you need for a complete application. We'll go through how to complete the application, and then again, I have two guests from other departments here at the city. So we have risk management. They're going to go over the insurance requirements, and then the small business center to go over registering as a vendor, and then getting the MWBE certification if that's something you're interested in. And then after we talk about that, we'll talk about what the application process is like, how our projects work, like what the construction process is like, the bidding process, and then we will do a Q&A. So first things first, our current programs. So right now we have four major programs. We have major home repair. So we're still working on projects that are basically like a total home rehab. So they'll include structural stuff, major systems. It'll include interior and exterior work. We have a program HIP, which has three sub-programs. So it's going to have emergency rehab, Dallas Tomorrow Fund, and major systems, which we'll go into detail in the next slides, like what those programs cover. And then we have the ARPA program, which is even more comprehensive, total home rehab. And then we have an ARPA plumbing program. So it dismantles or disassembles septic tanks and then provides residents with plumbing and connection to the city utilities. So the major home rehab goes up to 73,000. It is for single family only. It includes interior and exterior repairs, foundation, structural work, windows, painting. This is not a total list, but just to give you an idea of some of the repairs it covers. And then our HIP program has three sub-programs. So the emergency program, this one it requires a little bit additional qualifications. So if you see this and you're interested, email me. I'll give my email out at the very end. That way we know, you're interested in doing emergency in addition to all of our other rehab programs. The emergency program requires the applicant to have had a life threatening or a health and safety threat at some emergency within 4 days of their application. The repairs can include mechanical, electrical, plumbing, busted pipe, roof, something like that, and it's up to $10,000. Then we have Dallas Tomorrow Fund. This is primarily exterior repairs. And this is for applicants who've received code violations. And so they're referred to us through code, and the program specifically addresses the code violations they've received. Then we have major systems rehab. That's going to be the bulk of the work that we are doing this year and into next year. And this program covers mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural repairs. It doesn't get into things like foundation or doing any more like superficial kind of stuff like painting and things like that. It's going to just be your major systems. And then we have the ARPA program. This one is, I guess, the highest allowance per residence, up to $100,000 in home repair. This program was targeted to three neighborhoods originally, so Joppy, 5 Mile, and 10th Street. But we've since expanded to a couple of other areas. The homes do have to be built in or before 1959. So you're working on older homes in this program and doing total home rehab. So it can include interior and exterior repairs, foundation, structural work, flooring, painting, inside and outside. and then the ARPA septic tank program. So this program has the same maximum. Of course, we don't see most of the repairs going up to 100,000. The purpose of this program is to dismantle or disassemble septic tanks for those residents that are still on a septic system, and then build the connections from their home to the city tap in the street, and do any plumbing or other supportive repairs to build that connection. So we have residents here in Dallas that are still on septic tanks, and Dallas Water Utilities is building out the main lines. This program will come and disassemble the septic tank and connect the residents to the city utilities. So that's an overview of the programs that we're working on right now. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself and give it to Javier to cover customer service.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Javier Gonzalez. I'm the construction manager. I oversee all of the inspectors. We're just going to talk a little bit about customer service. If we can go to the next slide. The housing project involves working in dilapidated homes and structures with diversity of repair needs. Housing program typically serves applicants under 80% AMI, the majority of whom are over 60 years old. It's great that you do good work, but it is important to remember that the program's client base can be sensitive to change, which can be challenging at times. So, at first impressions, greet your customers at the start of each day, call homeowners when you're running late, and always be prepared to answer questions about your work. Be prepared to elaborate on the construction process. Next slide. Be professional, dress appropriately, clean, wrinkle-free clothing, good etiquette counts. Be patient, be prepared to accept and tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Keep dirt outside, clean your shoes, especially like in days like today when it's rainy season. Once you start work, clean up at the end of the day. Don't leave unattended tools, and clean after yourself throughout the day. Get permission before going into areas that you are not working in. Supply your own food and water. Provide your own food, water. Do not take things offered by the homeowner. Have proper attitude. Homeowners see you as an extension of the city of Dallas.
Great, thank you. That's definitely something we want to stress. The customer service aspect is of the utmost importance. Um, so we're going to look at the Neighborly Contractor Portal really quickly. This is the portal you'll use to submit the application. This is also the same portal that we use to bid jobs, manage projects. And so you're going to become very familiar with this portal through the application and then as you work with us. So this is the landing page. When you go to the website, you'll register if it's your first time there. If you go to put in an email address that you've used before, it'll actually kick you back and be like, you already have a profile. So at that point, we can kind of assist, or there's a support line for Neighborly to help get you in. So once you're signed in, this is what you'll see. All these boxes, which you basically fill in with your company information. So they ask for like your company name, the owner, the address. You'll want to make sure across all documents that you're using that this is the same information over and over. So some companies, if they have multiple addresses, where you're registering with the vendor with the city, you're registering as a contractor with the city, and you're using the portal here, you want to make sure your addresses across all your city documents are the same. So you'll see all the blank fields to actually enter your company information, and then several places to upload your supporting documents. So we talked about the checklist that's in the application. In the portal, there's like a field for everything on the checklist. So you'll upload your PDFs, your Word documents, or whatever you need. So let's look at the required document checklist. So this is on page 3 of the application. We're going to go through each of them, or each of the required documents right now. But obviously, once you get ready to start your application, you'll want to make sure you're literally using this as a checklist to make sure you have everything in. So the first thing you need is the fully filled out application, of course. You'll need a picture of an ID, front and back of all owners. You'll need your business registration documents. So you'll need, if you have articles of incorporation, some people have like your Secretary of State registration, whatever naming documents you can provide. And then 2 years of your year-end balance sheets. So typically this will look like if you do it yourself, like a QuickBooks or a, self-accounting tool. Um, Sometimes it's looped in with the profit and loss. Like this will be a full financial report. So you need the 2 years of the year and balance sheets, the income and operating statements for the 2 years, and profit and loss for the 2 years. So again, sometimes this looks like one report. If not, it might look like your year-end statements, and then like your accounting for the 2 years. I see some, hold on, I see some comments in the chat, and I just want to make sure I'm addressing everything. So will this meeting be recorded? This meeting is being recorded, and we will share it with all attendees so that way you can go back. I see a comment that you're not seeing the screen, so I just want to make sure you guys are seeing the screen. We're going through the checklist that's required with the application right now, so it's important that you are seeing the screen. Somebody could just give me a thumbs up or a yes or awesome. I got a thumbs up. And we will share this PDF with you all in addition to the recording. So keep your comments and questions coming, and we'll get to Q&A at the very end. So back to the checklist. So your 2 years of your financials, year and balance sheets, profit and loss. You'll need 2 years of tax returns. This can be for the business itself or for the owner if the business is on your personal tax return. You'll need 2 most recent month bank statements. You'll need a proof of financial commitment letter. This can look like open credit lines. This can look like a letter from your bank. We actually have a formatted letter if you need. And not everybody has this, but if, your financial backing kind of boosts your capacity. So if it looks like, lower balances or the company's newer and you don't have a substantial 2-year history, using some sort of commitment letter or credit lines can boost the capacity because we see you have like an open way to fund projects. So you'll need your certificate of registration with the City of Dallas as a general contractor and your home repair license. These are both city documents and the contractor vendor registration. So the vendor registration we're going to cover later in this presentation. The certificate and the home repair license, the addresses and the offices where you can obtain those are at the very end of the application. There's like a helpful tips page where it shows where you can go to pick up these 2 documents or register and receive proof of these. And then you'll need your SAMS registration. So SAMS.gov is a company, it's a government website where you would go to register the company to say that you are able to receive federal contracts or federal grants. Once you go through the registration, they provide you a UEI number. That's the next thing on the checklist. And so when you're applying, you're providing this, you're providing a screen grab saying, you register with SAMS. Before we approve the application, we're double checking that this UEI shows as active. This is the way that the government tracks who is eligible to receive federal funding. So if at any time it's inactive, that becomes a problem. That means you can't receive federal funding for grants. So, and if you have trouble getting through the prompts, we can help you through it. But I will say SAMS.gov does have like a prompt by prompt way to register. And then the last one on this page, SAM's verification. So we're looking to see that the company name and the owners listed and everything matches with the company that's applied for the contractor. So we're down here with the EPA stuff. Sorry, it kind of overlaps. So you'll need, all general contractors need an EPA lead safe work practices certificate. So that's like the training saying that you abide by lead safe work practices. Now, the lead renovator certificate only applies if you're doing lead work, lead remediation. So most general contractors will have this, and the primary company that we're contracting with needs to have this. But if you're just doing major systems or you're just a trade-specific contractor, you do not require lead renovators. At the time of application, we do ask for your certificate of insurance. This includes your general liability. This includes, workers and vehicles. And we actually update it when you receive your first job. So say you give us some insurance and we already know the requirements are not met. We require all requirements to be met at the time of first award. So, and we will go over insurance a little bit more later in this presentation. I see a comment here. I know the SAMS ID process can be somewhat convoluted. Have you ever done a presentation on how to register for SAMS? I've not, but I've walked contractors through it over the phone or how to go in and troubleshoot. What I would say is if you're getting through the application, we're here to help. So if you have questions or you need assistance getting through the registration, you can call me directly. You can call our front desk. And we have a team of coordinators here who can help prompt you through and just kind of stay with you as you're getting through this checklist. Like I always encourage people, go ahead and start your application, start pulling your documents together, start uploading stuff into Neighborly. Let's get this, get it going. And if we notice something's missing or you need help getting through one or two of the things, we can try to assist where we can. So the application itself, let's go through some of the things we require in the application. So the beginning of the application starts to go into company information. It's going to ask your company name, your EIN, phone number, mailing address, again, email address, website. All the information needs to match Neighborly, and it also needs to match your other registrations here with the city. So like when you're registering as a vendor or a home repair contractor, all these addresses, company name, everything needs to match. It'll ask about the owners. So if there's multiple owners, you'll fill in all their personal information. It'll ask about past experience, which we'll see on the next page. So to ask like company history, tell us what type of work you've done in the past. If you have any sort of like trades that you have on your staff, what your staff in the office looks like. If you work with specific subcontractors, who are they, what companies they are, how long your relationship's been. Have you ever done home repair work before? What type of home repair work? It'll go into all those specifics. This is how we basically verify your work history. So the application goes through several rounds of review. When we get to the part about verifying your work history, whatever you put on this application is who we're reaching out to. So you put in, specific addresses or clients or previous government contracts and stuff. We're doing our due diligence to go through to make sure, we have good references. You will go into your financials here, but again, all the supplemental documents is what we use to actually determine your capacity. So you'll explain how you plan to fund the projects that you'll be working on, what type of warranty you offer for the work that you cover. Um, what I will say here is the warranty, we do require a 1-year warranty for all workmanship. And then depending on what type of things you're actually installing or, the specific, I guess, work that you do there. Sometimes it's backed by like a manufacturer warranty and additional warranties. So what we're looking for here is what your personal warranty is for any workmanship that you do. You'll identify what type of projects you want to work on. So if your company is capable of doing major rehab, you want to do major systems as well, you're interested in emergency, you'll go in and check off all the boxes. Right now, we are accepting applications for trade-specific contractors. So you could just be an electrician or just be a plumber and apply and get major systems work. We do require that you be a general contractor if you're doing major rehab. The primary contractor on all the contracts needs to be a general contractor. You will do so if you have government experience, you'll put in all of the previous contracts you've been awarded or are working on. You'll definitely want to make note if they are open and active contracts or if they were completed. You will put in any other sort of private contracts or private experience you have as well. So there's two sections for both types of work. And we want to know what kind of work you're currently doing. So again, in the pages where you're writing out your experience, if it's a completed job and it's a good reference, you'll make a note. Yeah, completed this date. Put in the reference. If you're still working on it, you'll be asked about like the anticipated completion date. So just be aware that some of this goes into factoring your capacity too, so if we determine like maybe this company can take on 3 or 4 jobs, but you have a bunch of other work open, even when you start to work with us here in housing, we do kind of adjust the work that we're giving you based on what we see that you can complete or are completing. And then the last page, probably the most important page, you're going to make sure you sign this. You're going to make sure you get it notarized. So there is, I think it's actually page 50, or I think it's 14 or 15 now. You'll want to make sure you sign that the owner is the person who's signing the application, and then that you're getting it notarized. This is required. This is what makes your application complete. And so once you have the actual paper application itself, you will, this will be the first thing on your checklist, and then, the rest of the supporting documents will be scanned and uploaded to the Neighborly portal. This is the last page in the application and what I was mentioning earlier. So if some of this stuff sounds like a foreign language and you're like, I don't know what a home repair license is, or what do you mean register as a vendor? This is some helpful information about where to go to get some of the requirements on the checklist. Again, my team can answer questions, and we do have some more in-depth content here today for like how to register as a vendor and, line up your insurance and things. So you'll want to take a look at the last page of the application as you're starting to pull together things from the checklist. And if you have questions, call us directly and we can help. Or some of the offices, especially the city offices, have numbers here where you can reach out to them directly as well. So, one thing I want to point out, the subcontractors that we ask about in the application, obviously at the time of application, this might be the people you're working with. We are expecting that you are vetting your own subcontractors. So with the city, our primary general contractor, that's who we're in contract with. That is where all the liability lies. Anybody you subcontract out, we're expecting you to do the due diligence of searching SAMs to make sure the subcontractor is not barred from receiving federal contracts. And then we do require a list of subcontractors and subcontractor lien waivers when you're submitting payment requests. So, and I know subcontractors kind of come and go. Whatever you put on your application, we'll have that on record. And then each time you complete a job and you're invoicing for it, that list of subcontractors we also have on record. So you want to make sure all the names, any subcontractors or companies that you are using are not suspended or debarred or or ineligible for federal grants. And that would be that SAMS.gov search. So the application process. So say you're here today and you think you want to get started. First things first, getting the actual application. It's available on our website. I'll put the links here and you will start completing it and going through your checklist. You can reach out to our team. I'll put the number in the chat when I go off here in a second and the next presenter goes. Um, so we will start to go through everything you're uploading in Neighborly. We'll look at it against the checklist. So we're looking to make sure everything's current, last 2 years, checks off. We have 2 years of financials, most 2 years or most current 2 months bank statements, and all the other documents on the checklist. We'll make sure your application's complete, that you signed it, notarized it, you scanned the full application into Neighborly. And then you will be notified. Typically, we're in communication with you as you're doing the application. You'll be notified when it goes through, and when it's on to like review. And the application goes through several levels of review. The first review is our internal staff here looking at, everything you put in the application, just doing some spot checks, checking companies, checking your work history. Do you have home repair experience? What do your financials look like? The second level of review is the construction supervisor, Javier, he's going to talk a little bit more about the construction process here towards the end of the presentation. He will be looking at your work history. So looking at all the jobs that you've listed, references you've given, the type of work you've completed in the past. And then it goes to another level of review, which is a compliance team, where we're actually doing a legal review of the company. So we're requesting kind of like what looks like a background check for the company. So looking at any sort of judgments, liens, past financial history, open credit and stuff like that. It's basically like a background check for the company. And then the final thing is just making sure the UEI is active, making sure, when we get to the final stage that everything that we have is current, like the licenses are not expired, the contractor registration is not expired. And then you get your approval. I'll say this entire process from like, I'm interested in applying to approved can be as short as 30 days. It can be 2, 3 months, depending on if you submit a completed application. We don't have to go back and forth about what is needed. And then that there's nothing that we need supplemental proofs for or we don't have questions about, So what if you are new? Let me see. We have some questions in the chat. The subcontractor has to have an active SAM ID as well. So we're expecting you guys to look them up on SAMS.gov. And yes, we're expecting the subcontractors to be eligible for federal grants. We do not look up subcontractors and we don't vet any of the subcontractors. But we do require a list for every job that you worked on. So if anything ever were to come up, that would be, yeah, we're looking at the subcontractors that you're using are active on SAMS and eligible to receive federal grants. What if you're a new contractor? So if you're a new contractor, it depends, I guess, how new. If you just created a business, I'll say some of the requirements, you might not meet the requirements. If you're a newer contractor and you're newer to government work, as long as you have, sufficient work history with home repair, especially like total home rehab and or development and things like that, we sometimes do start you off with one job and see how it goes. Um, I would say if the company is any newer than 2 years, you're gonna have a problem meeting the financial requirements, so, like, the tax returns and showing the 2-year financial history. But if you're new to government contracts or new to government work, I would still encourage you to apply or reach out to me after this meeting, and we can talk about, what history you do have and don't have. Um, but yeah, the 2 years, work history is gonna be a hard one to meet if you're brand new. So the insurance requirements. I'm going to go on mute and I'm going to let the risk office talk about insurance requirements. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Demisha Turner, and I'm in the Office of Risk Management. And I wanted to discuss the insurance that is required for our contractors that are going to be doing the work for the housing program. Can you all see my screen? Uh-oh. Wrong thing. Yes? No? Can you hear me?
We can see.
Okay, great.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. All right, this screen here kind of gives an overview of what the insurance that we will be looking for some of these projects. We typically look for the general liability. We need a coverage for the auto as well as the workers' comp for the projects. It may be some specialty projects that you may entail, like Jasmine was saying, that you may need pollution for the lead-based and asbestos projects. And then if you are going to be utilizing or removing or replacing gas lines, there will be a $3 million umbrella for that. This is just kind of a basic overview of the insurance requirements that we require for each of the vendors for the contracts. We also require that the vendors name the city as an additional insured, as well as the waiver of subrogation. And also, the city should be named as the certificate holder for that particular project that you are going to be working on. And I also wanted to show you a actual certificate of insurance and the things that we actually look for when we are processing the insurance for the projects that you will be working on. And each project is on a project base, and we look at the actual workup or work order that we receive from the department, um, and show us exactly what's going to be happening at that location. So if you can see it, there is a certificate of insurance that shows the general liability coverage, and we need to show the additional insured, the waiver of subrogation, and then also show the limits for that general liability policy. And the same goes for the auto policy as well as the work comp policy. And you will also see that the umbrella is listed, the dollar amount is there, but know that this is not an actual um, certificate for a project that you guys will be working on. I just wanted to give an example of what we look for here at the City of Dallas to make sure you guys are in compliance with the insurance that is required for that project. And if you notice here at the bottom, for the certificate holder, it's going to be the City of Dallas is going to be named as a certificate holder for the projects that you're going to be working on. And be it all possible, sometimes we like to see the addresses of the locations that you're going to be working on, so we'll know how to reference those projects along with those work orders that we receive. So we'll know that if they're in compliance or if they're not in compliance, or the something is missing from the certificate of insurance. I also wanted to kind of show a draft of the insurance requirements that you guys may receive. I'm not sure. Jasmine, are you guys going to put these in the contract when y'all submit this to city attorneys?
The insurance requirements, they do go in the contract. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. I just wanted to kind of show an overview of what you may see in the insurance requirements for your contracts. It goes and shows you what it looks like, what department it is going to be assigned to, which of course is going to be housing. It lists out the limits for the workers' compensation piece of the project. It lists out the business liability. auto liability. It also lists out the general liability and the limits, also the endorsements, the waiver of subrogation, and then naming the city as an additional insured. And then, like I said, the umbrella will be listed if gas lines will be touched, removed, replaced, or an installation of a new line will be added to the home. But if not, umbrella will not be needed, and also for pollution as well. We like to let everyone know what could be required for these projects. That way, if you get a home that has any of these two different requirements, we would like for you to already have it and not try to get it in place. You already have it in place. That way you can go ahead and complete the work for the project and you're not having to be waiting to get a quote to get new insurance for the projects that you have been assigned or awarded from the city of Dallas. And like I said, I know that Jasmine discussed the ARPA program. Most likely that program will probably have the GL, the auto, the work comp, the pollution, and the umbrella based off of the work that we typically see for those projects. For the ARPA septic tank program, the general liability, auto, work comp, and pollution will be required for that particular set of programs. And then for the HIP, we typically normally just require the general liability, auto, and the workers' comp for those projects. And I know that for the insurance that is going to be reviewed for us, we typically receive an actual work write-up from the Office of Housing Solutions, and then they provide us an actual certificate of insurance. We review the workup, and then we review the certificate of insurance, and then we provide an actual in compliance memo letting you know that it's a go to start the work on the project. But if there's some items that are missing, we will provide an actual not in compliance memo to let you know the items that are missing. And I would like to stress that it's important that your agents provide us this information here, because if we ever need to contact them, if they have questions on what is missing, it's better if we can reach out to them because we have their contact information. Also, when entering the projects into the system, we like to have your vendor information. Make sure your information is updated and corrected just in case we need to reach out to you to let you know that something is missing. Once these projects are entered into the system, and there is, of course, a 1-year policy, normally time for the policy's length. You will receive a 30-day notification electronically, a 15-day notification, and then a 10-day notification letting you know that your certificate of insurance is about to expire. And you will receive a link in an email to upload that new certificate of insurance to us to review so we can keep the project in compliance. And that is our way of just notifying you that your certificate may be getting ready to expire, or it has expired. It's not a good practice to work without insurance, and we like to make sure that our vendors are keeping us abreast of what the insurance is and that they are covered and able to complete the jobs in a timely fashion and they are covered. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Hello?
We're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we're going to go straight into vendor registration and MWBE.
Hello there, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Marshall Davis. I am the lead for the Small Business Center for the City of Dallas. As it pertains to business inclusion and development, our department is fairly new. We're just going to be going on this December, our third birthday. We are a combination of procurement and the Office of Economic Development, and our focus is making sure that we are able to positively impact the minorities within the city of Dallas. Next slide, please. For more information about us as a whole, because like I said, I just gave a very brief overview, we have a QR code and you can see how the City of Dallas Small Business Center is broken up. I have the business inclusion and development. We have a lead for the entrepreneurship, and we have a lead for workforce initiatives, which is actually wonderful. So I highly suggest that you go through and give us a browse. Next slide, please. Our Small Business Center is run by our director, Joyce Williams. We actually have the outgoing business inclusion and development manager, Jesse Saldato, who's still working with me. I'm very new in this transition. I've only been on board 4 months, but we have a fabulous team of Robert and Lisa and Danny, who have a combination of over 50 years experience with the City of Dallas. Next slide, please. Now, this is a whole bunch of words. I don't want you to have to worry about reading or memorizing it. It's in essence stating that the reason that we have the business inclusion and development team is to ensure that we have equitable opportunity and non-discrimination as we work with our small businesses for opportunities for subcontracting within the City of Dallas. That's the Cliff Note version. Next slide. Now, what does the city buy? The city buys everything. If you can think about it, the city buys it. Everything from asphalt to airplane parts to car engine parts to copiers to paper to medical supplies. We have it all. But the key is, how do we get that opportunity to bid on it? Next slide. So what is it going to take? It's going to take, and I hate to do this to you because we just finished talking about, Jasmine was talking to you about SAM.gov registration, but in order to get opportunities with the City of Dallas as a small business vendor, you need to be certified. And what you're looking at in front of you is our certification partners, the DFW Minority Supplier Development Council, which is the president, Margot Posey, absolutely wonderful. She's been running that council for over 25 years. We have the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, and Angela is absolutely wonderful spokesperson for that agency. And then we have the Women's Business Council Southwest that's being run by Bliss. Now, we're not going to tell you which one to select, but there is a requirement to have B1 and have one of those certifications in order to get subcontracting opportunities with the City of Dallas. Now, for those out there who are 8A that has their tribal cards, the City of Dallas does recognize federally recognized tribal cards. Now, this may seem in conflict with what you just heard from Jasmine. She does need the SAM.gov for federal recognized dollars. But for any other dollars that pertain to the City of Dallas, the City of Dallas does not recognize self-certification. Next slide, please. Now, in order to register to be a vendor with within the Office of Procurement, we have Bonfire, where you will register. And believe it or not, that Bonfire registration will feed into that certification. So if you tell me, hey, Marshall, I'm already certified with the Women's Business Council Southwest, I can actually look up Bonfire, see your organization, and see that you're already a certified vendor. That is part of the partnership that we have with those agencies. Also, when you're in Bonfire, please make sure that you check every commodity for which you're certified for, because that's how you get the opportunities within the City of Dallas. And those opportunities are going to come out to you electronically based on the commodities selected when you register. Now, I know that might be a lot of information, but we will have my team and my contact information. So if you get a little lost in that registration process, we are, unlike the IRS, we are really here to help. Next slide. That's all I have for the Small Business Center.
I see one question came in here in the
Yeah.
chat. All these certifications required classes. I think they're meaning, do you need classes to obtain these certifications?
No,
Um,
you do not for the Small Business Center. You will work with those in agencies, and a lot of the paperwork that you're being requested to provide for the city of Dallas for this opportunity is some of the same information that's going to be required for those entities that validates that you are who you say you are and you can do what you say you can do. So there are no that for as far as the Small Business Center, no classes required.
any other questions in the chat, or anybody, you can come off mute too if you want. Are those applications free?
I was on mute. I apologize, and I apologize again. No, the certifications are not free, and they're based on the income level of your organization. So there are different payment levels, and you will have to talk to the organizations to be able to determine what your fee would be.
All right. Any other questions from the chat, or anybody else want to come off mute? We had Demisha first talking about the insurance requirements, the need to be insured and the various insurance required for the different types of projects. And then Marshall talking about registering as a vendor and MWBE certification. Anybody have any other questions for these two? Before we continue, we're going to talk about the construction process next. All right, well, let's get into it. Javier, turn it back over to you.
Okay. All jobs bid through the Neighborly software we use. You must create an account in Neighborly when jobs are put out to bid. You'll have access. So once you get approved, you should have access to, or you should have an account in Neighborly. And once we do bid walks, you guys will get notifications for whatever bids are on for that week. You'll also get an email from me, and it'll show you all the addresses, all the information for homeowner information, times, and date as well. Um, the construction manager will post the bid results on the website. The bid results will be in Neighborly once you guys put your bids in, and then you can go in there and see all the bids. I will be sending out an Excel form as well to show all the contractors where their bids were. Next slide. How projects are awarded is by lowest bid. How are they notified with how are they notified with an award letter? The determined capacity will be taken into consideration when awards are given to the contractor. So when the contractors submit bids, and that generally is by lowest bid, but it's not always awarded to the lowest bidder. We take into consideration the amount of work you have, how you've progressed in your jobs, if you're running behind, and all those kinds of things. Uh, we take into consideration on who's going to be awarded the jobs. Um, Projects are expected to be completed within the following timelines. So the major systems, we are giving you 45 days to complete. The ARPAs, which are the big projects, those are 120 days to complete. And the ARPA septics are 30 days to complete. Next slide. Most draws are paid within 30 days. We do not have a limit on the amount of draws that can be taken. We do have a minimum draw amount of 5,000. Any item being drawn on that requires a permit must have a final green tag to be considered a draw. All invoices are submitted through Neighborly. Invoice numbers need to be unique, and the deal number needs to be attached. So when you submit for draws, just make sure that when you submit your documentation that everything is original. Nothing is an old document that you whited out. That may slow down the process, maybe kick back. the DO numbers. You'll get issued a DO number when you get a proceed order, and just make sure you attach that DO number to your invoice. Next slide. All change order items must be approved before moving forward with them. Change order forms will be supplied from the department. All prices are subject to the department's estimating pricing. So when a change order is required, you must first get with your inspector and come to an agreement on the changes. And then you also have to get the homeowner on board and review the change orders with them and get them signed before you start any work. There's three types of change orders: lead change order, non-lead item change orders, and time change orders. Next slide. Lead-based paint rules. Lead-based paint is presumed present on all homes built before 1978. So like once we start doing the MSRPs, even though we won't be doing any lead testing on those jobs, we're going to presume that any job any project that was built before 1978 has lead, and we'll have to take lead safe practices. For HUD funded rehabilitation activities, lead hazard evaluation and reduction activities must be carried out for all projects constructed before 78. A lead inspection and risk assessment by an EPA certified lead inspector risk assessor must be performed. You must follow the HUD regulations for lead-based paint, must follow the EPA safe work practices. The contractor should follow the lead-based paint rules established by the EPA and HUD regulations for found to contain lead-based paint. The EPA requires that contractors working on homes found to contain lead must have an EPA lead firm certification. Worker must have an EPA certified renovator license to work on interim control projects. Upon completion of lead control and cleanup efforts, a clearance must be conducted by a licensed lead inspector risk assessor. And then you must provide the City of Dallas a clearance and abatement report at the end of the job. So in any job that goes on over 25,000, you'll have to have a risk assessor go out and take samples and provide you with a report stating where all the lead is found. And then at the end of the job, you'll have to have them come back out and have a clearance, and you'll have to submit us with a clearance saying that everything has been addressed. Next slide. That's it. Questions? Any questions?
And I must say, I'm back, and I have I see Marshall still signing. I think Demisha's still signing as well. Thank you, Javier, Demisha, and Marshall for participating and for all the great info. We've had a couple of questions in the chat, but this last bit of time is for discussion. Anything you guys need clarification on, anything you want to talk more about. What I'll say is our work is picking up right now. We recently made some changes to MSRP, so switching over to this home repair programs focused on major systems. We're closing out a lot of our work and finishing up, I would say, probably let's estimate 50 projects of major rehab. But moving forward, like fall and beyond, most of the work is going to be major systems. So you're not going to have lead work or lead change orders. You're not going to have foundations or structural work. It's going to be focused on major systems repair. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And then if any of you guys have questions about the application or the type of work that we have, the volume of work or what type of things you might be bidding on, then come off mute or put your questions in the chat so we can discuss.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
Juan Juarez here. Question. Just would y'all be able to share y'all emails on the chat, or how can we get in contact with y'all? I missed that part at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, I'm typing mine in the chat right now. It's Jasmine, Jasmine, period, my last name. So be like boy, AZLEY at dallas.gov. And I just posted it in the chat as well. You can email me directly. And again, we have a full team of coordinators here who can help with individual applications.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. And I see Javier just put his in the chat as well. First name dot last name at dallas.gov. Demisha and Marshall both gave their emails as well. First name period last name at dallas.gov.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you. Look forward to it as well. Thank you guys again for all your time and for um, sitting through the presentation. I know it's a lot of things on the checklist, but we are here to help you get through it. Our goal is to get you guys through the application, right? Get it in the review phase. And then when you are ready to bid, we can talk again. Like, how does this work? Show me how Neighborly works. I don't know how to do my bids. We can talk again. And then once we get you, lined up with your first job, we watch that one really closely, make sure like the workmanship's where it needs to be, customer service is what it needs to be. And we kind of like handhold through that first, award and first job. So you're not alone in it. And then from there, if everything goes smoothly, then you can start, taking more jobs up to your capacity.
I have a question. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Terry. So are there already jobs currently posted on this Neighborly site to start looking at?
So there are jobs currently going that we're bidding on, but you won't see them until your status is changed to active. So whenever you log in for the first time, you'll be in apply status as your application's being worked in and as approvals are getting done. And then once you're approved, you'll switch to active, so you'll be able to see all the open jobs and receive the alerts about bidding opportunities.
Okay, I missed like the first 25 minutes of the presentation. So is it going to be recorded so I can see even how to begin that process of getting on Neighborly?
Yes, we recorded it. I will send it back to anybody who logged in, or if you email me directly, I can send you the presentation and the recording.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Questions about the application? I did post the link to the application and to our website in the chat. If you're able to open it and look in the application, most of the questions are pretty straightforward in the application. It's getting all the checklist items that's where it'll get, a little bit confusing.
I have a question again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the certification process, and I know that it can take 90 days or so sometimes. So was the lady saying that you have to be certified to participate as a contractor on these jobs?
Hello, this is Marshall, and unfortunately, yes, that's what I was saying. And it doesn't have to take 90 days. If you need assistance, that's why my email is in there. We can work with you in whichever of the 3 certifying agencies you choose to work with, and we can get the process done. I have seen it done in as little as 30 days, and I've seen it take as long as 4 to 6 months because all the paperwork was not submitted. So we will work with you to get all the paperwork submitted. I know for a fact that both the Women's Business Council Southwest and the DFW Minority Supplier Development Council are not backlogged as we speak as it pertains to getting new certifications accomplished.
Okay. Years ago, when I checked on certification, I'm very familiar. I used to work with Margot Posey years ago.
Yes, she's still there.
I know. So when I'm very familiar with the process. And one time when I looked at becoming certified, my net worth was too high to be certified. So how do I get certified if I can't? I mean, how do I participate if I can't get certified? Because of my net worth is at that time it was too high. So how does that work?
Email me and let's talk offline because you can get certified. I just need to see if you need to go through the NCTRA, which is the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, versus going through the DFW Minority Supplier Development Council.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we have a question in the chat. How consistent is the contract and jobs with the city of Dallas? Are there downtimes or slower parts of the season? I assume this is all of Dallas County. So it's actually the city of Dallas. So most of it is Dallas County, but some of it extends into Collin and Denton, the very, very northernmost part of the city of Dallas. We do work within the full city of Dallas. Um, how consistent is work? I'll say it kind of comes in waves. We will get, or the bidding opportunities will come in waves, and then the work slowly flows out over the whole year. Um, Right now, we were doing a lot of major, major rehab, like up to 100,000. So the projects were taking longer. People could have less open. What I think will happen here in the next 3 to 6 months, we will wind down a lot of those major, major rehab projects, and those will become a little bit slower because it'll be primarily ARPA. And then MSRP, we're looking to do like over 100, 150 or something a year. That's the goal to get to. So we'll start to speed up as we switch over to MSRP. Right now, there's a lot of bidding going on because we are wrapping up some of the old major rehabs that we have in making this transition to MSRP. So it's very busy right now. It'll be very busy into fall. And then as we transition to MSRP only, it'll be steady. Like the rest of the year and into next year, steady, major systems, $25,000 jobs, back to back to back, lined up. Um, yeah, we've done like I think maybe 80 jobs last year. Maybe we're on pace to do over 120 this year. So that gives you an idea. We started with a very small pool of contractors. Like last year, I think we had 7 or 8 that mostly took a lot of the work. And then this year, we've doubled the amount of contractors we work with to about 14. Looking to grow that even more. So that's to give you an idea of the amount of projects and the amount of contractors we have taking that volume of work. Any other questions or thoughts or comments? You can come off mute. You can put it in the chat. All right. Well,
Hello? Hello,
oh,
can you hear
here
me?
we go. Yes.
Hi, this is Rodney Allen. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm fine, fine. I had a question about the like the smaller projects. Are you guys doing any minor home repair, like the 10,000 or less, or are those going to be kind of done away with?
So the minor home repair, we don't have minor anymore. We don't have a plan to do minor. The smallest jobs will be probably the emergency home repair. So up to 10,000. Um, I would say if you're interested in the smaller things and maybe considering applying to work on the emergency program solely, Dallas Tomorrow Fund can be smaller too, not 5,000, but the limit is 20. So usually it's like 2 or 3 items, exterior items only. But yeah, no plan to do any minor like $5,000 really, really small jobs anymore.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know if they're going to be included. We have access of doing those as well as the bigger projects.
You will, yeah. If you become qualified, you can bid on any of the range of programs or any of the range of projects we have. The one exception is the emergency home repair contractors. Those need a little bit stricter qualifications with the financial resources they have that are liquid, that they can touch, quickly get in, address the emergency repair, and get out. So any other jobs you can bid on if you become qualified. The projects range from 10,000 to 100,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. I see another question. What is the growth potential for the future? I think it's going to get busier and busier. We have a lot of things going on right now where we are like doing very targeted work and looking at neighborhoods as a whole and the amount of work we can do in a very small area. And then we're looking at, 50% of our work available citywide. As we, get deeper into that planning and running the department that way, I think the volume of work will pick up significantly in these target areas that we've developed. The growth potential, I mean, there's constantly more money coming in and there's a constant need. So I think the work is there. It's just, getting to a pace where, we have the same people, they know the process, they're doing the work, they're starting projects and finishing projects and things like that. So what is the future growth potential? I think it's things are moving along and we are on pace to do 100 plus every year. That's the goal. I see one comment. I look forward to rewatch the presentation. Thanks in advance. Yes, this presentation is recorded, so we can share it with everybody who attended. And then if you would like it or you want it to be sent directly to you or something, you have multiple people you need to send to, just email me. We will send it out. Last question. Any commercial projects possibly being added? So not for us. We don't do anything commercial. We do have a whole separate thing, developer NOFAs, where they do some mixed use stuff, but our work is specific to housing. So anything we fund, any of the work that we do is housing only. Being a general contractor or, you know, a registered contractor for home repair is even more specific to single family only. So yeah, if you're a developer and you're wanting to wade into like the mixed use and you know, expanding, I would say check out our NOFA presentation. We do one every fourth Tuesday and learn about the resources we have for developers. Again, our money is specifically for housing, but I do know some of those projects kind of layer into mixed use projects. So might be something you'd be interested in. Right. Anybody else? Any last questions or thoughts? You can come off mute. You can go in the chat. If not, it looks like we finished a bit early, but I wanted to leave time for discussion if y'all had anything.
No, I just want to say thank you. Very informative.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for attending. Thanks to everybody for giving your time up to get through the presentation and look this over with us. We look forward to working with you. My team, we're really eager to get you, you know, your application done. So don't hesitate to email. When is the presentation for commercial projects? So we do not do any commercial projects. We only fund housing work. However, if you are a developer and you are developing projects and you're interested in developer funding, we have a NOFA presentation every fourth Tuesday. If you go to the same website with the contractor application, it's just the tab for developers instead of contractors. You might tune in there to learn about resources that we have for developers, but we do not fund commercial work. We only fund housing work. In the NOFA applications and in development projects, I've seen where people are doing multiple types of projects layered into one, but our department only funds housing work. You see the chat. All right. I see a lot of thank yous and not a lot of comments or questions. If nobody has any other questions, I think we'll end it here. I appreciate you guys for joining. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you. Y'all have a good day. Thank you. We'll see ya.